Hello, good evening and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics live on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Welcome to the program. Tonight, we focus on a critical legislative move to combat the growing menace of drug abuse, particularly among the growing generation of millions of Nigerians, especially in the north, where a rising crime rate has been quite noticeable and is fast becoming a serious concern. Our discussion centers on the bill to establish the National Institute for Drug Awareness and Rehabilitation, which recently passed its second reading in the Nigerian Senate. Join us to delve into the conversation is the bill's sponsor, Senator Rufa'i Hanga, representing Kano Central. But of course, to the conversation, there is more. Amid rising drug concerns, the Senate has set up an ad hoc committee to investigate serious allegations of drug abuse or involvement by some lawmakers. Now, this is coming in the wake of a saga between the NDLEA and Senate Deputy Leader, Senator Ashiru from Kwara State, following a recent NDLEA raid that has been linked to that senator. Well, let's speak to the man at the center of the conversation that led to some of those revelations, who is joining us in the studio tonight. Distinguished Senator, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening.
Good to have you. Let's first of all start the conversation, and if you can just provide some context to Nigerians who are watching this program right now and who need to understand where this conversation is coming from. First of all, talk about the bill and how it has snowballed into this controversy that has led to the formation of this ad hoc committee to look into those weighty allegations that the NDLEA has made recently.
Well, well, the purpose of this bill, as I said, was to establish an authority for awareness and rehabilitation of drug and users and drug devastated people that drug has devastated. Now, the purpose of the bill is to, number one, the basic purpose of the bill is to create awareness. And another important reason for the bill is to rehabilitate those that have already been abused by these illicit drugs. Now, the argument some people brought to us, this bill can easily be referred to NDLA or increase a department in NDLA to take care of that. Some argue that psychiatric hospitals is already taking care of these drug abusers. I said no, because I brought this bill out of experience. I didn't bring the bill just like that. I know rehabilitating drug abused people is a very specialized area. I stayed abroad. We have psychiatric hospitals abroad, like in UK. We have psychiatric hospitals, and we have special homes, special places for rehabilitating drug users, which is different altogether from psychiatric hospitals. Now, my concern is, I'm from Kano. Kano is the most populous state in this country. We have a large population. We have the largest children roaming on the streets of states, especially the capital of the state, Kano. See, and these people are mostly into drugs out of frustration because some of them have nothing doing. And the pathetic thing is, even housewives now have gone into drug taking in Kano. There are a lot of cases like that, and it is becoming rampant these days. So the only thing we need to do is, maybe my thinking is, to create an authority that will give a lot of awareness to the people, to discourage them from going into these drugs, and for those that have already been into drugs, to get that organization to rehabilitate them. You see, these are the basic reasons. There are many other reasons there, because you see, there are health reasons and so many other things into my bill.
But give us an understanding of the necessity for this institution. I mean, clearly you're making a case for the problem, right? But looking at where we are right now as a nation, a lot of people have complained about how big the government is at the federal and at the state level. Too many agencies, too many institutions. A bloated government means the cost of governance is going to go up. Recently, the conversation is about when the implementation of the Oronsai report will be finally implemented so that we can see a trimming down of government agencies and parastatals. Why do you think this institute is needed? Because as you said, there are counter arguments that the NDLA could fit into the conversation, or you have already hospitals that deal with these concerns. So why do you think the institution is necessary?
Number one, no hospital, no psychiatric hospital deal properly with this. Psychiatric hospitals deal with madness that are either mental diseases, mental conditions that are either caused, some are hereditary and some by whatever, but not drugs. Secondly, NDLA is specialized in its own organization, its own way. Because like I argued in the Senate, that I know the NDLA law properly, because I was the chairman of the Senate Senate Committee on Drugs, Narcotics and Financial Crimes in the 5th Senate. And I know the law very well, and I have related with the police very well throughout my stay in the Senate. And actually when they even honored me, after about 5 years after I left the Senate, they honored me. They gave me an honor. So I know it very well that and the way they do their thing, I think it's difficult for them to combine it with awareness and rehabilitation. That is one of the arguments.
Do you think NDLA should just stick to enforcement?
They enforce, they arrest, like I said in my argument, they arrest, interrogate, and at times prosecute to give the deterrence. But I don't want prosecution to give deterrence. I want awareness to give the deterrence, which is a specialist areas different altogether from what they do. You can encourage people by arresting them, interrogating them, prosecuting them, imprisoning them, and whatever. But you cannot do it the same way as the awareness does. Awareness means to educate them, to use all means to educate people about the ills of these illicit drugs. And I don't think they can do that for now, because they are not designed to do that. They are not built to do that. And like I said, there are this kind of authorities even abroad, which have different function from one another. That is it. And the question of Oronsai report, this does not fall into that. We have so many institutions now that certainly is one of my beliefs. I have been arguing in the Senate that we should make sure that some of the institutions are closed. There are institutions that people think they are important. They are not.
You want to mention them?
I will mention one.
Right.
And I gave my reasons, and I'm coming out with a bill to do that. Like road safety. Road safety is not doing the job well, because what the road safety does is only going to stay on the roads, check the traffic, and pick people to the hospital when there are accidents. That's all.
You don't think that they are worth the billions of naira that we spend?
They are not.
Looking at the data, hundreds of thousands of crashes a year. You don't think the road safety is fit for purpose? That
is not a way to discourage the accidents we always have in the year. I think there was an attempt to even abrogate their law. I don't know, I can't remember the Senate. But in fact, it's during our 5th Senate. But I don't know what happened. They went and killed it on the way. Let me tell you why. I think they are not as important as the people think. I'm not about today. I know during yesterday's, the VIOs do much better job than what the NDLA are doing now. The traffic police are doing much better than what they are doing today. The VIOs are trained as mechanical engineers, as motor mechanics. They know the faults on vehicles. When a vehicle is on the road, they stop it. They check it. They will ask you to trafficate, confirm that your trafficators are working, your brake lights are working. They check your tires, if they are all right. Everything is okay. They will go and sit on the vehicle, turn the steering to make sure that the steering is all right. Then they will allow you to go. Otherwise, the moment you discover any fault that can cause accident, they put on the road, on the vehicle. You have to keep the vehicle there. You have to repair it before you take it. That's what they used to do.
Yeah, but Senator, there are a lot of people who say the distinction exists. I mean, I know we're sidetracked talking about the road safety and VIO and other things, but you can find the same distinction in the police, the DSS, the Nigerian military. While they are all tied to security, they play different functions and different roles at different points in time.
Well, I think in that case, the only two security organizations that may fall on the same category, having the same function, is DSS, the NIA, and the NIA. Because DSS can work locally and can be sent abroad to work, like we send ambassadors abroad to go and take care of our interest abroad. That is the only thing in security. But the police have special training, their own training. DSS have special training in their own way, and they are doing fine. Like the military, they are doing fine in their own way. You see, the only situation is where this DSS and the NIA may clash in functions. That is it. But on this case, VIOs are more important, more functional, and better. Even the traffic police, the problem of yesterdays are better, because traffic police are specially trained to man the traffic. They will ask you of a driver license, you see, and then some licenses are bought these days. Just go to road safety office, give them your photo, they pay them the due, come back to collect your license. But in those days, you can't get a license unless you are tested properly by VIOs, who are mechanical, who are automobile engineers and trained to do that. They will test you, make sure you are all right, you can drive before they certify you. Otherwise, they give you a driving permit, not license.
Senator, as I know you're aware, the conversation now is when it comes to enforcement of the road safety, and I think we're digressing significantly to the conversation.
You asked for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You asked for it.
But just as a final point on this one, the conversation is now about arming their personnel, right? And you say that there was this push in the past to abrogate it, to abolish the agency entirely. Is that something that
merge
you're
it
looking
together with the police? Merge it together with police and the VIOs.
You don't think it should be a core on its own? Just like the NSCDC and everything, it should be under...
Because VIOs can do better than them.
Okay. On the conversation of your bill, for instance, awareness is a core part of the bill as well as rehabilitation. On the part of awareness, some would easily point to the Ministry of Information, or better still, the National Orientation Agency, the Nigerian Orientation Agency, and say that is part of their mandate to create this awareness, to sensitize people. So why do we need a special institute just to create awareness about drug abuse and trafficking?
Why is because, you see, abroad, I'll still say abroad, because we copy most of our things abroad. Abroad, this kind of awareness is not done on just radio like that. These people are moved off the street, take them as special institution, give them the awareness, train them, lecture them, release them. And those that are not in their proper faculties are just sent for rehabilitation. This is a difference. National Orientation Organization can be talking on the radio, saying these things. It doesn't go to anybody's ears. It only goes to ears of people like you and me that are responsible and reasonable. But those drug dealers, you need to sit them down like in a school. That is what they do abroad. They bring them, they mop the street, they mop them off the street, put them down, and then orientate them.
Yeah. So you don't think if this institution comes to life, it will be redundant, it will be a duplication of efforts compared to what the NDLEA is doing and what other agencies are doing in addressing this same issue of drug abuse in our society?
NDLEA is not doing any awareness. It's not doing any rehabilitation.
They do have rehabilitation centers across their commands.
That rehabilitation centers are not professional, they are not specialized. They only lock you up until you are free of the intoxication. And once they release people, in few days they come back to the same habit. Rehabilitation is where somebody is fully freed of the urge to take the illicit drugs. And it is done professionally. I don't think any of the NDL people are trained, they are trained doctors for this kind of thing. It's a specialist area. But maybe, people just like changes. We are supposed to grow. But we will grow. I think this is something new maybe to us because we don't have any rehabilitation center in this country for drugs. I happen to know it, a lot of them abroad, you see. Like I say, they interrogate people, lock them up for a few days until they are free of the intoxication, and then they release them. Well, the moment they go back to the same habit. But this rehabilitation is a rehabilitation done by specially trained people, so that when somebody is rehabilitated, he is free of the drugs at all. He wouldn't think of going back to the drugs.
So in talking about the economics of this conversation, Senator, you've seen the books. I mean, you're an accountant by training. You know how cash-strapped Nigeria is, so to say, for lack of a better expression. Do you think we can afford something like this at the moment, looking at what it may take, not just personnel funding, but also operation-wise? Do you think we can afford an institute like this?
No, I think the country can afford that if you can afford to take your child to the hospital when he's sick. If your child is not well.
Yeah, but this is government fund. This is going to come from government coffers, isn't it?
I mean,
the operations.
That is what I mean. We are government children. These people are government children. The government cannot take care of somebody when he is sick because this sickness, serious sickness. Some people go mad. Some even people die. So if the government cannot have a facility to take care of that, then it's unfortunate.
So you don't think this is going to add financial burden to the federal government? I mean, people have accused lawmakers of always coming up with these institutions as part of their legacy for being members of the National Assembly. But at the end of the day, the burden is on the executive, who are bending over backwards. I mean, our debt profile is ballooning to create all these institutions.
But these people who are talking like that, let them go deep into what the government does. The usual spending we are doing in some sectors. I think they should talk about those kind of spending. But this is something that affects the health, the well-being of our people. There are so many useless spending done by the government. I don't want to mention them, but there are a lot of them.
Useless spending?
Yes, useless spending. And I mean it.
Do you want to clarify on that?
Yes. No, you see, like the government is not prioritizing on certain things. When we are in hunger, when we are in serious poverty, when there is no employment, when our health centers and hospitals do not have proper medicine, doctors have left the country out of frustration. Only those that are rich afford to go abroad to have proper treatment. But some people with serious ailment go to hospitals. The hospitals who do not have the facilities to take care of their ailment or the drugs to take care of the ailment, but unfortunately they might die unless you are rich, unless you have support to go to hospital abroad. That's why we have a lot of medical tourism in this country. But with all these problems, the government is now spending 15 trillion to build a road from Lagos to Calabar.
And you don't think that's a necessity?
It's not. There are more priorities. We have more roads to take care of many things of problems. We have rural roads. We have roads in states that people cannot, that are not motorable. Even when we have a lot of farmers deep into bush and villages, those roads are still unmotorable. Government should look into all those roads first before they think of this. This is a flashy business. This is a flashy job. You know, it's certainly not a priority to Nigerians and Nigeria now. This kind of thing. This is only one of the few.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about this bill now. I mean, it's a scaled second reading, but talk to me about what your colleagues make of it. I mean, we're going to talk about the issue that came up during the debate, the deliberations in plenary that involved the deputy leader of the Senate. But talk to me about the kind of support or the different arguments that have been made within the floor of the Nigerian Senate and what you think your colleagues think of this particular bill that you're sponsoring.
Initially, some people did not understand the concept, so they were against it. But later on, when some medical doctors in the Senate clarified the thing, you know, like there's Senator Dahua of Boshi, he said he's a medical doctor. This bill is very important because there's no rehabilitation center in this country of this specialty to take care of our problems. And the drug abuse is growing by the day. Seriously, like in Kano, like I said, even housewives are into drugs now. Housewives are into drugs in Kano. So you see, and there's another senator from Plateau, Senator Plum. He too argued the same way. Senator, too many senators did it, argued for it, and then people begin to come to the light. And I tried to clarify that, look, this is not what you people think. I gave reasons and why this one is different from NDLA function. Even when the Senate President, then the acting Senate President, directed the bill to the Committee on Drugs, Narcotics and Financial Crimes, I didn't want to argue with him in the public. I let it go, but then later on went and met him. That look, this bill was supposed to have been directed to Drug Committee on Health and Social Welfare. Why I told him all that, he said, okay, that's all right. Then let's go to the Senate President. We went to the Senate President. I explained to the Senate President that when we were not around, this happened, and this was directed to Committee on Drugs. And my argument is, should not have gone to the drugs. He said, why? I explained to him. He said, okay, I will direct it to the two committees. Committee on Drugs, since it was already directed there, then I will include the Committee on Health and Social Welfare to deal with it. He agreed with my argument. I convinced him. That is it. So there was misunderstanding from some senators of the concept of this thing, but later on they understood. In fact, if they did not, it wouldn't have scaled the second reading.
Right.
By scaling the second reading, scaling to second reading confirms that yes, the bill is through with majority of the senators.
Right. Now, the fallout of the debate was accusations and counter-accusations. Senator Kano Central suggested that there are some lawmakers who are in the habit of either abusing drugs or enabling people within their circle to do so. And then came the conversation around Senator Ashiru, who accused the NDLA of corruption and complicity. And there are a lot of Nigerians who are scratching their heads around that whole argument. What do you think is the bottom line in the conversation there? I mean, we have heard that the Senate has just set up a 6-man ad hoc committee that will be chaired by Senator Abaribe. But before we talk about that, give me a sense of what you think Nigerians can take away from the arguments there made by Senator Kano Central and, of course, Senator Aishiru's point about the NDLA as an agency and the corruption that he's alluding to.
Well, some people talk out of experience. And some people talk out of sentiments. Senator Kawosumela said that there are some senators. I don't think he can give the name of any. He's saying it out of what he hears from the public, that politicians, because there are so many programs I saw on television where some senators or members or chairmen have sacks, and they give them drugs to go and perpetrate whatever they want for them to succeed. Now, I can remember there was a time when Rimi was alive, may his soul rest in peace. He went to one local government, there was an election. But some people in the local government, some members of the government, or the House of Rep or State Assembly, they asked thugs to kill him. They followed him. He had to escape in his station wagon then, I know. And they were throwing stones at him. They broke his glasses and he escaped. You see? So, you see, this happened. I know that. I'm witness to that. Ashiru said what is really the truth. That's on these LDA people, they collect bribes. It is true, they do. But their leader will never know because he's secluded somewhere. And I'm sure I would want to hear that. Ashiru did not accuse the head of NDLA of collecting bribes by some of their boys.
But he did say that the agency is corrupt, the most corrupt agency.
Well,
that is very...
I'm sure he has experience. He must have.
Do you agree with that generalization?
No, I don't. But he said out of his experience. I don't agree with it because I have not experienced that personally. But some people did. They said it. So naturally, I won't say yes because I have not experienced it. I have not experienced it. So I can't say yes.
Yeah.
This is my take on this.
Yeah. But in also talking about privileges, because we do have some of the excerpts from today's plenary after that executive closed-door session that you had, where this ad hoc committee is supposed to look into these allegations and counter-allegations, right? And the Senate President alluded to his support, saying that, you know, any attack on one senator is an attack on all. And you are very aware that Nigerians sometimes feel as if the National Assembly itself and the people that work there, especially the lawmakers, have a way of shielding one another from accountability. Do you think at all that if there is something to unearth with regards to the comments made by the NDLEA, that they've made several arrests at the residence of Senator Ashiru in his home state, and they have linked some of his aides to either drug abuse or trafficking or peddling, as the case may be, do you think that that is something that should be looked at? And the Nigerian Senate should not shield the senator from such an investigation if the NDLEA decides to investigate the senator also?
Well, that is part of the mandate of the committee to go into the thing deeply in both sides and to come and report to us.
You don't think they'll be protecting their colleague?
No, I don't think so, because I've never seen where the Senate protects its colleague on this kind of thing. And let me tell you this. NDLEA is a government organization.
Go ahead, Senator.
NDLEA is a government organization. If the head of organization would go to the news people, to the media, to make this allegation to a senator, it is weighty. And certainly it's something that must be looked into. If you as a journalist go and make any aspersion on the Senate, it's your freedom. If anybody on social media, anybody on the street can come and say anything against the senator or anybody, it's his own opinion. To me and to most of us in the Senate, it's inconsequential. It depends on the people's judgment, and you are saying what is your judgment. But a government organization, the head organization coming to make this aspersion is serious, and certainly that cannot be tolerated. It's just like a minister.
What if it is true, Senator?
It's just like, let me tell you, it's just like a minister going to make accusation against Mr. President, that the president is this and that. Do you think you can go scot-free? I'm sure it will, if he says it, it will be investigated whether he has actually said it.
Of course, a minister in a cabinet serves at the pleasure of the president, right? But the NDLA as an agency do not serve the Nigerian Senate. They serve the Nigerian people,
no,
by extension.
No. The senator as an NDLE, head of NDLA, serve at the pleasure of the Senate. We clear him before he's...
yeah, but you work for the Nigerian people.
So does the minister. So does the minister.
Exactly, but the minister serves at the pleasure of the president because he is single-handedly chosen by the president to serve in his government.
But confirmed by the Senate. Right. Confirmed by approved by the Senate. He can only nominate and will confirm.
Is it my understanding, Senator,
the president
that...
can only nominate a minister and will confirm. We approve. If we deny somebody the privilege to be a minister, we can drop him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Senator. Are you saying senators should not be investigated?
Senator should be investigated. He's a Nigerian. Right. Certainly, senator should be investigated.
Right. But that's what the NDLA is saying. But you don't agree with what they're saying.
What did they say? That they want to...
they said they have arrested some of his aides. They have prosecuted one.
That is subject to confirmation. That is why there's a committee to confirm if it's true or they said it out of anger of what he said. They can say it out of anger.
Is the committee...
He has accused them of being corrupt, and then they accuse him of being... Because Kano Central gave the lead. He gave the lead for them to do that. Because he said some senators, some officials. You know...
Do you think he was wrong in making that comment?
You know, there are different type of people in this country. Some people want to be heroes. They want credit for something. Even when they too, if you investigate them, you can find them with some...
Are you saying that if we investigate, if somebody investigates Senator Kano Central, there will be something?
No. Kano is my son.
All right.
He's a very clean person. He's a very clean person.
Oh, so you're just saying it hypothetically?
Hypothetically, yes.
Right.
But Kano is clean. I don't think Kano can get himself involved into this kind of thing. He's never done that.
Okay.
I would have said it if he does.
So how do you see this ending? Because there are some people who are uncomfortable about the Nigerian Senate investigating a matter that involves their colleagues, because as the Senate President said, while Senator Ashiru has privileges that provide him some immunity due to the debate in the National Assembly, there are weighty issues, as we pointed out from the NDLA allegations. But how do you see this conversation ending? Because it is a polarizing conversation. On one hand, you have an agency of government that has built a reputation for itself, that is gaining a lot of momentum because of their recent successes. But that has also been supported by a senator who says, listen, I think some of my colleagues are involved in this. Do you think the Senate should be involved in the investigations when it is, clearly under the spotlight?
The present head of NDLA is certainly making a difference from the previous leaders in the NDLA. Certainly, he's making a difference. But that doesn't make him to be so arrogant. To be so arrogant as to accuse his leaders. Because senators are his leaders. You understand? Now, if the allegation is found to be true, nothing will happen. The Senate will sanction Senator Ashiru. I assure you, because the Senate sanctioned people severally.
The Senate or the NDLA?
The Senate.
To take him to court.
Sanctioned people, senators severally. There is no going to court in our rules, of the Senate rules. We can suspend him for a certain period. You can suspend him.
He doesn't have immunity over criminal charges.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. So why should the Senate be the one to punish him when we have the courts?
No. You see, I said we have no that provision in our rules, maybe somebody can take him to court. The Senate doesn't stop anybody from being taken to court. A Senate president was taken to court on several occasions. You know that. And nobody has stopped them from taking him to court. Senator, I don't want to mention them. There are Senate presidents that were taken to court.
Yeah, Senator Bukola Saraki is
no, since you mentioned him, fine. Senator Bukola,
it's public knowledge, actually.
Yes, but I don't want to remind the public of that. You see, it has gone. It is fizzled with time. I wouldn't want to recall that. See, he was taken to court several times. Many senators were taken to court. Several, even the Senate President, Deputy Senate President, were taken to court. Nobody stops it. But Senate itself does not take somebody, a senator, to court. That's what I'm telling you. It's not part of our rules. We can sanction somebody by suspending him, and if he's suspended, it depends on the government or whatever to take him to court. You understand?
Right.
Okay.
Let's segue now into your home state and the politics that has generated quite the interest across the country beyond the borders of Kano. This past week, for instance, we heard of the little commotion in your party, the NNPP, where the SSG and a commissioner for transportation were suspended for allegedly inciting the political atmosphere in Kano State, alluding to an organization that has been calling on the governor to stand on his 2 feet, independent of the national leader of the NNPP. What do you make of those disturbances within your party back home?
Well, I think some of these disturbances, the stories about these disturbances are an exaggeration. People exaggerate. You know, we are certainly a minority in the country. Our party is a minority. Our state is a minority state as far as the governance of the country is concerned. We have only one government, one governor. But the question of whether it is because the secretary to the government and the one commissioner are inciting people against the government, I don't think it is true, because no government, no governor in his senses will confirm that this man is sabotaging me, inciting people against my government, will not dismiss the secretary to the government or the commissioner, because they are all there at the pleasure of the governor. So,
but they were suspended, and that says something by the party.
But I think that is the coalition is between them and the party. And I'm yet to go after this suspension to know, because I'm one of the elders in the state, and certainly when I go, I will find out why. But certainly any sensible person will not believe that, yes, they are suspended by the party because of their sabotage to the government. You know, if the governor knows his onions, he wouldn't allow somebody to sabotage this government and then yet allow them to function as secretary to the government and the commissioner, because they are in a position certainly to destroy his government. They are in that position, especially the secretary to the government. So, so I think it's between them and the party. I don't know. I will find out. It's between them and the party.
You don't think the allegations are true? I mean, even the association, the movement that is supposedly calling for the government to...
The movement is an APC movement.
APC?
Yes. It's most of the members of the movement and people I know, they are from APC. They think they can go between the governor and the leader.
I mean, isn't the NNPP an offshoot of APC?
No. No. NNPP is not an offshoot of APC. NNPP,
a significant part of it was?
Konkosia.
Yeah.
The significant part of NNPP is Konkosia.
Yeah.
It's a movement.
Yeah, that was once upon a time part of the APC.
No, it was not. The leader was in APC, the leader was in PDP, you know, but the leader moved and pulled his people out of all these parties, even smaller parties, to form NNPP.
To join NNPP?
No, to form NNPP.
I think the proper word there is to join, because NNPP existed before Konkosia.
But it existed, but it was empty. It was empty. I was part of it.
Does that explain the clash that is going on right now? Because there are factional leaders. There are a lot of the other ones who say they were the landlords of the party, or they were the ones running the party before the Konkosia movement joined, say that the Konkosia movement has become a very difficult tenant now. They're trying to take over the house.
Well, the Konkosia is in charge of NPP now, and those that are fighting against the people taking over the party, as they said, they don't know what is political party. A lot of people sit to form a party, but they will end up not being in the party anymore. They will end up not benefiting from the party. I single-handedly formed the CPC. I was first national chairman. I financed it more than anybody else in the country. When nobody wants to spend a kobo on Bahari. And when the movement got stronger, I was kicked out. I didn't do anything because I know it is not my property. Because a party was formed, I joined the party, won an election into House of Reps. A party was formed, and I had no hand in that. A party was formed, I joined the movement, and I joined the party and won an election into the Senate. So now, when I formed this party, and the people came and be stronger than me in the party, I had to give up. So whoever, see these people, they don't know party, they don't know political party. That's why they have never succeeded in their quests and all the litigations they made. See, they had their party which was empty, nobody in the party. We were trying to form a party because we were disgruntled with our parties. We came, initially it started, 5 of us, Konkosia's friends, five of us started. The group grew to larger number, and we certainly were slow in registering a party. And then later on went to inevitable for us to leave our parties. We planned, okay, let us go to look for one empty party, take it over. You know, take it over.
Why do you keep saying empty?
Empty, yes, because they have never won any election.
Right.
You see, they didn't have even a councillor. But what do we have now? We have members of House of Reps from Kano, majority of them. We have a member of House of Reps from Bauchi. We have a member of House of Reps from Jigawa. We have a governor, senators, you understand. And with the party, if we had been in the party longer than when we came, we would have maybe had more than one governor, you understand. And God willing, we'll get more governors, more senators, more members of House of Reps in the next election.
As NNPP or as a mega party alongside the Labour Party, because your national leader recently alluded to the possibility of considering a joint ticket with the person who came third in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi.
Well, nothing is impossible in politics. You know, nothing is impossible in politics. It's a game of interest. If you know your interest will be taken properly, you go into it. You understand? If you know the interest of your people will be taken care of, you go into it. So nothing is impossible. I'm sure our leader can decide to go into merger with either Peter Obi, Atiku, Tinubu, or anybody else.
Would you be in support of something like that?
To go into merger with who?
With any of them?
Yes, of course. The more the merrier, the more the stronger. If we go tomorrow, our leader call us to meet and say, look, what do you think? Do we match with Tinubu? We'll say yes, because we'll be stronger. If he says, do we match with this and that, Mr. A and B, and he says, can we merge with even you to make ourselves stronger? I will say yes. Because we are one of his advisors. We advise him to go into it because we know he will never take his people to where they will suffer. He is somebody of very, very strong vision and mission and thought. very wise man, intelligent man.
Yeah, there's been some debate about, the comments that he made about possibly being a running mate, for instance, and there was a backtracking of that comment and so on and so forth. But would you be disappointed if, say, the former governor and former minister and national leader of the NNPP decides to be a running mate instead of a presidential candidate for any of the three individuals that you just mentioned?
Does it matter? In politics, you are not there to must be something.
I mean, if you're trying to implement your ideas, you would want to be the man in charge, isn't it?
Well, if he's the number two person, he can still influence the policies to put in his ideas in the governance. And even if he's not there, he can still influence the government and the policies through his subordinates that are in the Senate or in the House of Reps.
Right.
There are many ways you can put in something, infiltrate and influence policies, influence things happening.
Right. So, key to the conversation is anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Okay. Let's talk about the state of the nation, because Nigerians are not just unhappy about the federal government, they are also unhappy with the state governments, their management of the current state of affairs. The economy is in a downward spiral. Poverty and hunger is at an all-time high. Inflation as well, insecurity, and all the number of issues that continue to plague this great nation. And some have also blamed the National Assembly and the people that represent them, senators and House of Representative members, for not doing enough to address the concerns of their constituents. How do you respond to some of these concerns of Nigerians who say that you and your colleagues are not doing enough to help people out of this current economic condition that we're all in?
You see, the problem with us Nigerians is that we always chase the bad side of things. I can remember Margaret Thatcher once said to some journalists, "Why do you people always chase the bad side of news?" Somebody told her, but the bad news is always the best news for people to hear. That is one. Two, you see, Nigeria is on a solo flight, so to say. But I want us to believe that the policies of Mr. President SSBC will certainly maybe change the situation. Because if you have a wound and you want it to heal, like I know in the years, you have to apply iodine, and it is very hot, it is very painful. And when you want to dress the wound, you have to endure the pains of cleaning it to dress it. So this is what I think is happening. We are undergoing these pains maybe to be fizzled out with time, like he has always been assuring us. And the Senate and the House of Reps, people who want, I think what the people want is they want us to be quarreling with the presidency. They want us to say, okay, we are impeaching you, the president. We are impeaching the president. We are impeaching the vice president. It's wrong.
Yeah, but more often than not, Nigerians hear you during your plenary sessions. The commentary is one of always alluding to the president is doing a good job, when the reality is that people are going deeper and deeper into poverty and suffering. So do you think it is unfair that Nigerians think that the National Assembly has become a rubber stamp institution, always in agreement with the executive arm of government, in light of everything that is happening?
Well, I think if the Senate or the House of Reps will go into plenary always to accuse the president, to accuse the government, to abuse the government, then it's unfortunate, because we'll be washing our linen in the public. We are part of the government. Some people, yes, will come to this plenary to say, yes, it is okay, things are happening. But nobody knows what is happening underground. we are doing a lot to push the government that this and that are not good. We are not happy. People are not happy with this. This policy must be changed. We've been doing that. We've been doing that. But to come out and be saying it is like quarreling with the government in public. You understand? So, but the understanding of people is not the same with others, because there are those who accuse of that, but I'm sure there are those who don't.
Right. Okay. Interesting conversation. Senator, thank you so much for joining the conversation tonight. We do appreciate you for taking the time to, analyze the conversation and the topics that we have discussed extensively tonight. Thank you most kindly for
Thank you very much.
the conversation. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay. Right, and that is our show for you tonight. As always, thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms. We're also available on our website, trusttv.com, where you can find the latest news, programs, and documentaries. Until next time, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching Daily Politics, and good night.